Okay, so moving on for the ones we've done previously, this time you'll see where the negative number comes in. We see here we've got a negative 5x, we've got a plus 6, but it's a negative 5 that makes this one just that wee bit different. So we're still using the exact same method, so nothing's changed. We're still looking for two numbers that add together to give us negative 5, and two numbers that times to give us 6. So looking at what we've got, so numbers that we multiply together to make 6, so we've got our pairs 1 and 6, 2 and 3, also the negative ones here we spoke about before, so minus 1, minus 6, minus 2, minus 3. Looking at these pairs, what two add together to make negative 5? Well, there is only one pair there that works, and that's the minus 2 and the minus 3, so that's why we've got to remember to put in these negative factors. So if you were to factorise x squared minus 5x plus 6, you would have an x and a minus 2 in your brackets, and an x and a minus 3 inside your brackets. Let's look at another example. So numbers are a wee bit bigger this time, but don't let that put you off, because we're still looking for two numbers that add to make minus 23, and along with two numbers that multiply to make 42. So what combinations could we have there? So let's look at multiples of, or numbers that multiply together to give you 42. So we've got the obvious ones, which are the positive ones, your 1 and 42, 2 and 21, 3 and 14, 6 and 7, so quite a few there. And then you've got the negatives of them. Remember, two negatives, if you multiply them together, give you a positive. So that's where this group comes from. So we're looking for two numbers then that add to make minus 23. We can immediately rule out these four. So a pair that add together to give you minus 3. Once you look down there, we should be able to isolate minus 2 and minus 21. And this is why we spent so long looking at negative numbers for problems like this. So when you put them together, you add them together, it comes to minus 23. So if you're going to factorise x squared minus 3x plus 42, you'll have an x and a minus 2 and an x and a minus 21. So have a look at this example here. X squared minus 6x plus 8 is what we're asked to factorise. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes so you could pause the video and give this one a go. Right, if you've managed to give it a go, then we're looking for two numbers that add to make negative 6 minus 6, two numbers that go together to make a positive 8. So we have two numbers that multiply to make positive 8 of that, and let's see what the combinations are. Now there aren't that many combinations that multiply together to give you 8. Two numbers that add, or two of these, or one of these pairs that add together to make minus 6. Of course, there is only one possible answer to that, as you would expect, and that's minus 2 and minus 4. So looking at our answer, we had x squared minus 6x plus 8. Factorise that, putting it back into brackets, you get x with minus 2 and x minus 4. Okay, moving on for this then. Slightly different again. The negative numbers, of course, are there enforced. You've got a minus 3x and you've got a minus 10 at the end. So we're still looking, method hasn't changed, we're still looking for two numbers that add to make minus 3. However, at the end here, we're looking for two numbers that multiply to make minus 10. Excuse me. Right. So slightly different there because we've got a negative 10, a negative number at the end, but the idea is just the same. So we've got a selection, it pairs the numbers. Because it's a negative number, then positive times a negative gives you a negative number. So 1 and minus 10, minus 1 and 10, 2 times minus 5 gives you minus 10, and minus 2 times 5 gives you minus 10. So which pair are we looking for? Two numbers that add to make minus 3. It's not going to be any of the two at the top. So we're left with these ones, looking a wee bit more likely, and it's this 2 and minus 5. If we add them together, it comes out to be minus 3. So in your brackets, no surprise, x squared minus 3x minus 10. It's got x plus 2 and x minus 5. And that's it fully factorised there. Look at another example. This time it's a plus x and a minus 6. Method is exactly the same. Remember that because there's nothing in front of the x, that's just like having a 1. So try not to let that confuse you. So you're looking for two numbers that add to make 1, and two numbers that times to make negative 6. So which numbers times to make negative 6? Of course, we've got a limited amount again. There's only 1 and 6 and 2 and 3 that's going to be involved, but one of them has to be positive and one of them has to be negative. And the pair that add together to make 1. Again, there's only going to be one answer, and it's this final one here where it's minus 2 and 3. Okay. So our answer, you've got x squared plus x minus 6. Your answer to that is going to have an x minus 2 and an x with a plus 3. Next one you can try. So pause the video and have a wee go at this one. You ask to factorise x squared minus 7x plus, x squared minus 7x minus 8. Go and factorise that one. Okay, so if you've managed to have a wee go at this one, you should have thought about your two numbers that add to make negative 7, two numbers that times to make negative 8. Once you've listed them, you should have 4 sets that you could have. Now they need to add together to make negative 7. So again, rule at the bottom two here. 1 minus 8, minus 1 and 8. Which ones add together to make minus 7? Of course, it's this top set here. So you're going to have a plus 1 and a minus 8 inside your brackets. Okay. What happens then when you get an odd looking one, a strange one? There's a couple of things here to imagine that get alarm bells ringing. I've got an x squared at the end instead of at the beginning, and it's also a negative x squared. So we've got a couple of things there that we really would want to sort out. Okay, so let's put the x squared to the beginning. So the x squared, although it's a negative x squared, the negative x squared comes to the start. We're just rearranging the same thing. We're not changing anything at all apart from the order. So the minus x squared can go to the start, and it's a plus 10. There's no negative in front of it. That can be stuck at the end. So it starts to get a wee bit more familiar. We want to get rid of the negative though. That's still something that's doesn't look right. So the wee trick that you would do to get rid of the negative is multiply the whole thing through by negative 1. Now if you multiply everything through by negative 1, all you do is change the signs. So negative 1 times minus x squared makes that positive x squared. Negative 1 times negative 9 gives you a positive 9x, and plus 10 times by minus 1 gives you a negative 10. So you end up with something that looks like this. X squared plus 9x minus 10. We started with that, we've now ended up with something that's much nicer and certainly much easier to factorise. Okay, so let's factorise it. There are two numbers that add to make 9, two numbers that multiply to make negative 10. Our list, the multiples are factor pairs, the minus 10 is there, and the pair that if you add them together to make 9 is this one here. Okay, this one. So minus 1 and 10. So your answer is of x minus 1 and x plus 10. Okay, so we can go away and practice some of these examples now, and you can watch this video as many times as you like until you have an idea of what you're up to.